So I decided to do a little overview of this thing before I get to working on it. The 1974 Plymouth Satellite 4-door, and I bought this back in October of 2021, and it's now March of 2022. I haven't really had time to work on it because of school, but it's an original 90,000 mile car, which is pretty cool. I believe it's original paint. It's like really nice. It's like this like metallic brown color. I really like this car. I like this body style. It does run, but it gets hot. So I'm gonna go through the cooling system on this thing, and I noticed the radiator leaks, so I'm gonna have to get that fixed, and then I'm gonna replace the thermostat while I'm at it because I don't think it's opening. I'll show you the interior. The interior is really nice in this thing. Like I said, 90,000 miles. It's got a little bit of a tear in the driver's seat, but not bad. That's the trunk mat there, and the original hubcaps are sitting in the floor over there. But yeah, I mean, just look how nice this interior is. And then like the headliner, everything's really nice. Door panels are nice in this thing. There is a little bit of a crack in the dash there, but that's about it. Ashtray. The previous owner said he was the only one that smoked in the car, so that's pretty cool. I believe this car originally came out of Tennessee. That's what the previous owner said, and then I found some paperwork in the glove box from an O'Reilly's in Tennessee. So this is a Satellite Custom, which I guess is kind of like a base model for these cars, but it does have a lot of options for it. I mean, like compared to my truck, it's got nice, vinyl door panels. My truck just has metal door panels. It's got power steering, power disc brakes. My truck just has manual steering, manual brakes, drums all the way around. So this thing's actually pretty nice compared to what I normally drive. The only things that don't work, I believe, are the temperature gauge and the gas gauge. I don't know about the gas gauge because I don't know how much gas is in it. I don't think the seat buzzer works, if this car even has one. I don't know. You all have to let me know, but I think this is supposed to be like a light or something, maybe. I don't know. It's even got air conditioning. The air conditioning does not work on this car, but everything else works. Even the radio works. It does run, but it gets hot, so I'm not going to start it up for you right now. Once we get that cooling system worked out, then I'm going to see how this thing does drive. I did drive it once when I bought it, but it was getting pretty hot. Original carpet is, pretty nice. It's a little bit dirty and a little bit scuffed up here and there, but overall really nice. There you can see it's got 90,000 miles on it. 90,549 miles to be exact. So, I'll show you the trunk here. So the trunk's actually really nice. Got the original spare tire in it. I do have the trunk mat. It is sitting in the floorboard right now. The previous owner painted the floors black, but as you can tell, there's like no rust in the trunk pan at all, which is pretty sweet. So that's what really sold me on this car, was the trunk pan. It's got the original sticker on it, which I thought was pretty cool. It's like, tells you how to jack up the car and everything. It does have a few dents and dings down the side of it, but it's really straight, honestly. So this is an original vinyl top car, and I do like vinyl tops on old cars. I like the look of them anyway, but they tend to rust out a lot, and unfortunately this one has rusted out a little bit right here on the I believe this is called the package tray. It has a couple of rust holes from just water getting up underneath the vinyl top, I'm assuming, and that's what rusted that out. So I will have to probably pull the rear windshield out and fix this. It's the previous owner kind of smucked some sealer up there to try to keep it from leaking into the trunk. So it still does leak. That's why I have the cover on it most of the time. But that's the only rust that I know of on the car. So I'll pop the hood here and show you what's powering this beast. So this thing has the mighty 318 in it. All original, pretty much untouched underneath the hood, which is another reason why I bought this thing, because it doesn't look like a lot of people's really messed with anything. Previous owner did replace the upper radiator hose, but The lower radiator hose is original, so I'm going to be replacing that just because I don't want any issues out of it. I think while I'm at it, I'm going to be replacing the heater core and then the lines going to it. It is a 74, so it has the bigger bumper on it, which I'm not really a big fan of, and then it has these big bumper guards on it, which are pretty cool. The grill's in really nice shape. I believe there is supposed to be a little like emblem here or something, but it's not there. But other than that, it's a really cool car, and I'm pretty psyched about it, pretty happy to have it. So we're gonna start tearing into this radiator here and seeing what we can do with it, and seeing if we can either get this one re-cored or find another one. I managed to get all the coolant drained out. The lower radiator hose kind of fought me a little bit. I ended up having to cut it, and then the upper radiator hose came off fairly easy. Well, I got all the coolant drained out. I think my next step is I got to move this carbon canister out of the way, and I got to pull the overflow bottle out and disconnect some hoses here. And then I think my plan is I'm going to move this fan shroud. I'm going to take it off and kind of set it back, and then I should be able to pull this radiator out. So I got that radiator out. I didn't film any of it because I had to run to the parts store and get some plugs to plug off the transmission lines, and when I got back it was dark, but I did get it out. I don't know if you can really tell. You can kind of see it where it was leaking at along the top side of the tank, especially right in here. It was leaking quite a bit, and look at how much like dirt and stuff is packed in there. It might have been leaking on the bottom tank too, I'm not too sure. I think I'm gonna try to see if I can't get this radiator fixed. Maybe they can resolder the tanks back on if the core is good. If not, maybe they can re-core it. And if it's gonna be too expensive, I'll just end up buying a new one. And then there's my overflow here. It's pretty good shape. It's not cracked or anything, so that's good. It's got a bunch of nasty junk in the bottom of it though. I don't know if you can see down in there, but it is some pretty nasty gunk in there, so I'm gonna have to clean that out. And then I got the fan shroud out. I'm gonna clean it up, and I got all the hoses and whatnot in these brackets. I'll probably end up just repainting them black since they're kind of rusty, and you know, just kind of clean it up a little bit. I got all my hardware there, and oh, here's the plugs I use for the transmission lines, if anybody's wondering. They're just 5/16 hex head plugs, inverted flares. So yeah, and I don't think the thermostat was opening because I did take a torch to it, and it took quite a bit of heat to heat this thing up and make it open. So I'm just going to be replacing it anyway, and maybe hopefully that'll help my overheating issues. So that last clip you saw was of me pulling out the AC compressor, and I did manage to get it out. Now I'm working on getting the heater core out because I kind of want to take a look at it and make sure that it's not leaking, or make sure it's not really bad corroded, because I do not want it blowing up inside the car, because on these it's above the passenger's feet, and I've heard when they blow up that they pour coolant all over the place. But now I'm pulling out the glove box here because I've heard it's a lot easier to get the heater core out when you pull this out, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it instead of trying to fight with it. But basically it's just a fiberglass box underneath the dash here that I got to pull out, and it's got all the heater controls and everything in it. This should make it a whole lot easier. I don't know why you need this many screws to hold a glove box in, but I do appreciate that the glove box is made out of plastic on these cars, because in my truck it's made out of cardboard, which is, you know, not exactly the most resilient thing to rodents and dampness, so it falls apart, and it's fell apart on me a couple times, and I've just had to duct tape it back together. So thanks Chrysler for coming out with plastic glove boxes. So now this thing should come out. that. So I managed to get the heater box out, and I didn't film a whole lot of it because it was just a lot of me scratching my head trying to figure out how to get it out. And what I found out, it's a lot easier to take it out as one piece instead of trying to split it apart in the car, which is what I was trying to do. So I ended up taking a whole bunch of stuff apart that I really didn't need to. Like I ended up taking a bunch of these plastic pieces off that I probably didn't need to, and ended up taking the door plate or the seal plate off as well, and taking the kick panel out to get to some screws, which I really didn't need to. So it was kind of a mess, and I ended up having to get my dad to come out and help me try to get it out. So with two people working inside the car and outside the car and having a camera, it was just a lot to try to balance. But I got it out, and I got the firewall, the hole in the firewall blocked off with some cardboard and some tape for now. But basically, to get it out, you just have to unplug your plugs here, which you only have 2 of them, which is really easy. And then you have to undo all of your vacuum lines. So I ended up labeling all of them so that I don't get them confused. And then you got to go outside. So you got to come out underneath here and undo, I think there's like 5 or 6 nuts that hold the whole entire box in. And you got to undo your heater lines, obviously, and then you got to do your AC lines as well. So I had to take all that stuff off, but I finally got it out, and I got it in the garage right now. Here it is, and I pulled the heater core out, and it's in good shape. I'm going to take it to the radiator shop as well and have them test it just to make sure it's all good. And this is for the AC. I think this is like a condenser or something. I think this was leaking at one point, and what had happened is it got onto this gasket here, which turned it into like syrup. Like it's really sticky and really nasty along the bottom of this, and it ended up rotting out this piece here. So I'm gonna have to make another one of these, and I think I can do it, but this is gonna be kind of challenging here to get this curve right. But it's just like 20 or 22 gauge. Another thing I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to get a new gasket and some new foam for this thing, because the foam in it is just like it just falls apart in your hand. So this kind of turned into a project of itself, but I think I'm going to go ahead and remove this because the AC system doesn't work anyway, and I don't want this thing leaking ever again. So I'm going to go ahead and probably take it out and just use this as a heater box, which I think I can do. I'll have to make a block off plate for this when I put it in the car. I'm going to start cleaning this thing up and getting it ready for to be redone. So I think that's going to do it for this video. I'm going to try to get this thing covered up. I got the dog here helping me, but make sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next one.